A very good afternoon. Well, we're going to take you straight to this. Minister of Forestry, Fisheries as well as the Environment Willie Aucamp is currently briefing members of the media on the damage that was caused by floods at the Kruger National Park. Let's take you there and listen in.
Managing Executive of the Kruger National Park. We obviously have experienced a huge amount of rain over the Kruger Park area over the last 2-3 weeks. The rain started in the north on the 9th of January already, and it was really excessive rain that we have experienced. In the north, on the 10th of January, they had to already start to evacuate people from there. Then we got news of the huge amount of rain that's going to hit the central as well as the southern parts of Kruger. I was here a week and a half ago, and by then we already knew, due to the early warning systems, that there is a lot of rain and a huge possibility of flooding coming. It was really great for me to see by that time already how Kruger Park, the management team and everybody got together to plan for what might come. You will never know what happens with the weather. You will never know whether it's going to flood, how much it's actually going to rain. There were a lot of rumors about Tropical Storm Baron. So the Sandparks team had to not only navigate what's coming to them, but also navigate a lot of misinformation. But luckily, we as the department as well as Sandparks have got direct access to the South African Weather Services, and we got first-hand information that enabled this team to proactively plan. And I'm so proud of you. See, I want to really thank you and your team, Kathy, for the amount of planning that went into this. As we sit here, after all these floods, not one single person died, not even one single person got injured. And I think that is the most important thing. And if it wasn't for the amount of planning that went into this, it would not have been like that. So thank you very much for that. People also ask what happens to the animals. We've got the South African Weather Services that gives us early warning systems. The animals have got that built into them. They already started to move to higher ground before the water really came down. And you can see we traveled by air today. We did not see one single carcass. There's not one single animal that we could see that died due to these floods. They move up to the higher ground very early. In the north, as I said, we experienced more problems earlier on. The Pafuri and Shingwetsi areas are cut off. You cannot reach them. And then on the 13th of January, the Letaba area was also evacuated very early in the morning. Nobody could predict what will happen with the riverbeds. In the past, riverbeds had a lot of vegetation in it. Recent floods cleared that out. So it's a different thing. The same amount of rain will not necessarily have the same amount of flood effect every time because the riverbeds change. So on the morning of the 13th, the Letaba camp was started to evacuate. We started to evacuate firstly the perimeter or riverfront rondavels. And thereafter, when we saw that it's really going to not subside quickly, they started to evacuate the whole of the camp. There was videos on social media of the flood in the Letaba area. And Letaba is the only camp in Kruger where the flood levels now is higher than it was in 2000. So the restaurant area as well as the whole of the perimeter units were flooded first, and we evacuated the people, and that was done in time because the rest of the Letaba camp also got flooded during the course of the day. So again, one mammoth task to get all those people evacuated and get them to safety before anything happened there. Those people, the guests, were not evacuated out of the park at first. They were taken to higher ground areas. In the north, we've got the Mupani rest camp that is south of Shingwetsi. So they've moved the guests to Mupani because Mupani is a camp that is higher up and that does not have any risk of being flooded. So again, the aim was to get people to safety and not to get them out of the park because that would have taken too long. So they've got them in the north to Mupani and in the south to Olifant's rest camps, which are rest camps that are higher up. That gave the team time to concentrate on other areas where the risk is high and where they could then go into. So that is very important to note. Then it's also important to note that wherever guests have been moved from a camping site or from one camp to the other, it was done at no cost. We had Satara camp where the camp had to be evacuated, the campsite, and those people were moved into chalets and rondavels. That was done at no cost. People did not have to pay for that. So not one single visitor that has been evacuated or has been relocated to other accommodation paid for that, and I think that is a great achievement, and thank you for that, Sandparks. It really shows that you as Sandparks care. We could also not just let the people leave and go out of the park, because outside the park, at Palaborwa, at Gravelot, those areas, outside of the park, national roads also at certain places washed away. So now you send somebody out of Kruger, but just for them to face a different problem out there. So it was good to keep them here, get an assessment of what's going on outside, and let the people carry on staying in the park in the safety thereof. So there was also people from outside that came in as day visitors. There were people from Marlow Park that crossed the Crocodile Bridge in the south as day visitors, and whilst they were in the park, the river started to flood and the low water bridge at Crocodile Bridge got flooded. So they were also trapped inside. Sandparks also assisted to get them outside of the park so that they could go home, and again, that was also done at no cost. We just did a flyover and we flew over the Letaba rest camp. It is clear, obviously the flooding has subsided now, but now you can see the damage. And the damage is substantial. The high water bridge at Letaba, on the southern side of that bridge, it washed away completely. So that is a huge task to rebuild that, but that is, we will have to get an engineer report on the strength of that bridge to see whether it's been compromised. All the railings of that Letaba bridge has been washed away. It really looks like something out of a Star Wars movie. It's really washed away. And the bridge itself also is washed away at the southern end of that. So there will have to be a lot of planning going into how we're going to have access via that in the future. In the camp itself, it's clear that there's a lot of damage there as well. Again, nobody got injured. People have been evacuated in time, and the fact that there are damage to material things is something that we've got to deal with. But the fact that nobody died and nobody got injured is something that I really, and I can't emphasize that enough, Kathy, Mr. Mtimkulu, that Sandparks really, you need to be commended on a sterling job that you did. We are so proud of you. We are so proud to know that you planned for this, that you were ready for this. And even though it was more severe than what you expected and what anybody could expect, you adapted and you got everybody out, and that is something to be proud of. I also want to thank the other people that are not necessarily inside of Kruger. To the west of Skukuza here, we've got Sabi Sands and other nature reserves, Londolozi and other private reserves, who also acted as an early warning system. They would get a rise in the flood levels before it reached Skukuza. And they will be in constant communication with Skukuza and say, well, we're seeing it's rising now, be careful, even through the night. So thank you for them and for what they have done to help us with that. Ladies and gentlemen, the long and the short of this is that our beloved Kruger National Park got a lot of damage. and we will repair that. It's going to take time, and we are pleading for everybody to be patient. There's a large number of bridges that's been washed away. Previous bridges that were washed away, the detours they got damaged, and Kruger Park is already busy with a plan of how we're going to approach that, to immediately start to repair. Camps like Letaba will take time. No other camps in the south received damage. Unlike 2000, these Kukuza and Lower Sabi camps have not been flooded, and it seems as if the rain is subsiding a bit. So I think, and I hope and pray that we are over the worst, but there are camps that obviously had a lot of damage, and we will immediately start to prepare that, or repair that. Another thing that I want to say is that any guest that had a reservation for Kruger in this time were given the option to either move the reservation to a different date and at no cost, and if they cannot do that, there will be a refund. So no visitor out there has lost anything due to not being able to come to Kruger. And I think that in itself is also something that is commendable, and thank you very much for that. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to start to rebuild the Kruger National Park, we will need money. And we have decided on creating a Kruger Relief Fund. That fund will be formed by independent auditors, well-known auditors, that will form the fund and that will also manage that fund. We will, in time, in the next week, give more information on that fund, but I can promise you now that although we do not have an estimate at this stage of the total amount of damage that it will cost to repair that, it will be extremely high. We should not lie to each other. The damage in Kruger is extensive. And we're going to plea with everybody out there. I'm a person that come and camp in Kruger every year. I love this place. And as I am loving this place, there are a lot of other people and that loves this place and that would like to contribute to getting Kruger National Park back to where it was before these floods. We will also appeal to corporate entities out there and people in the nature conservation industry to make donations so that we can get it back to standard. Before we're going to do that, we will have a plan in place. You will know exactly where your money is going to, and there will be measures in place to make sure that the money that we receive here will not go for anything else than rebuilding Kruger. So the information with regards to that will be announced in the near future. I can just give you some statistics as well. In the Marula region, that's in other words the two Marula regions, the regions south of the Olifants River, the number of guests that were evacuated by sandparks was 230 guests, and the number of staff that were relocated was 77. If you go and you look at the Commendation region, that's the northern part, north of Olifants, and so it's from Pafuri south. We are looking at sandpark staff, 67 that have been evacuated in the last few days. The amount of visitors evacuated there were only 2 because we already started gradually to evacuate on the 9th when these floods and the heavy rain in the northern parts of the park came through. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said in the beginning, I was here a week ago and I had very fruitful meetings with sandparks, but one of the things that weren't on our agenda is planning for floods. But the dedicated personnel of sandparks sat there, they identified that there's something coming, and they immediately started to plan. So I'm ending off where I started. We've got amazing people working at sandparks, dedicated people, people that literally put their lives on the line to save other people. And I really want to thank you and your team, Kathy, as the head ranger, every other employee of sandparks, Mr. Mtimkulu, that assisted in evacuating people and trying to get people to safety as soon as possible. So it's not a matter of only having acted in a reactive way. There were proactive planning, it helped, it showed that it really saved lives, and it also saved people's possessions. People are gradually being able to go back and retrieve some of their possessions. We saw the helicopters taking people over the river, young children. I think it's the dream of every young child to do a chopper ride in the Kruger Park. But I really want to thank you, and let's all take hands going forward. When we are now rebuilding Kruger, it's not an effort that we can leave to the people sitting next to me. It's a matter of everybody taking hands and building it together. As Minister from the department side, I can give you my undertaking that you will have every single piece of help that you want from us, you will get. We've got a dedicated team at the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment that will assist you with planning and helping to rebuild this. Thank you very much. It's been an honor for me to be here. It's been an honor for me to be part of this team and to be Minister of this great department. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Minister. Encouraging words indeed, Minister. And we thank you for those encouraging words. We truly know that they will reach our colleagues elsewhere in the park. And we thank you for that. I don't know, CEO, if there's anything that you'd like to touch on, you may take the microphone. Thank you, CEO.
Thank you. Is it off?
There you go.
Thank you. It really is just to thank the dedicated staff of SANParks, as Minister has indicated, and also just to re-emphasize the clarion call that Minister has made to say, South Africa, please join us in recovering the damage or recovering from the damage caused by the floods in the Kruger National Park. Kruger National Park is an icon of South Africa. It deserves your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, CEO. We're now going to go into the Q&A, and maybe just to refresh, we've got Minister Willie Aucamp. We also have Dr. Sibongile Masuku on the other end, who is our board member. We have Chief Matila, who is also a board member. We have our head ranger. She hardly slept, I must tell you, throughout this entire process. We also have our CEO, Ms. Apilo Silva. We have our managing executive, who also been marshalling this team throughout this entire process, Mr. Oscar Chikulu. So please, colleagues, do tell us who you are, which media house you represent, for questions, please.
Thank you, Minister, and all the panel members. My name is Mohamed Mahome. I'm a reporter at the Associated Press. Minister, we've been talking to residents around this region who have, of course, fallen victim to these floods. And one thing they are indicating is that they are used to heavy rains around this region, but this time they appear to have been more severe than what they've experienced before. From your assessment, are we starting to see the effects of climate change in this particular region, in this region? And what is the department's plan in mitigating some of these effects? Thank you.
Okay, we can take another question, 3 at a time. And I must say, we also have colleagues that are seated in the audience here who are part of the disaster committee team, who may assist in terms of responding to certain questions.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Bakit Lemanai from TNC. When Howard is asking a question here, I've heard you, the Minister, when you said that there were guests that were evacuated here. When it comes to their belongings, what happened to them? Is there anyone who has lost some of the valuables, and how are you intending to house that?
Minister, my name is Ludwig Hendricks from SABC News. just wanted to get a clear understanding of the number of guests and staff who were evacuated successfully. Also, there are reports that some of the guests wanted to stay and ride it out. How true is that? And you know, what were the dangers to them? Also, to the head ranger, this operation has been, I assume, very tiring. How have you and your staff been coping so far?
Minister and colleagues, please, Minister, you may indicate who you would like assistance with some of these questions.
Let me just get the mic working again. There we go. Yeah, I'll handle some of them and I'll refer them to some. With regards to the question, Mogomotsi, of residents around the park saying that this has been way more severe than in the past, they are right. It has been very severe. And to come to the question with regards to climate change is a reality. I said it in Parliament earlier, well, at the end of last week when our department's budget adjustment vote came up. Anybody that still does not believe that climate change is a reality must just go and have a look at the amount of fires that was done that happened in the Western Cape and on the east coast of South Africa in the last 2 weeks. They must come and have a look at the floods and the amount of rain that we've experienced in the eastern and northern parts of the country. Climate change is a reality. I was in Kenya at the United Nations Environmental Assembly early in December, where all the African ministers of environment met, and we had discussions about this. And if you look at changing weather patterns all over our continent, it is clear that things are changing. And as the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment, we are part of that solution and getting to a solution with regards to, firstly, mitigation as well as the adaptation towards climate change. And I think early warning systems is very important, as we saw what happened in Kruger now. But we need to firstly realize that that is a huge problem for us. And then we've got to try to mitigate what is happening with climate change. How can we reverse or slow down the tempo of climate change? And then also adaptation. How can we teach our people to adapt better to the effects of climate change? But it is a reality. It is here. We've also got the Presidential Climate Change Commission. The President in December also appointed a new board for the next 5-year period. The previous board gave the report on climate change. That is a very good report, a very broad report that really gives us an overview and in specifics then as well of what's going on with climate change in this country. So we've got to now implement those adaptation and mitigation circumstances, and we will definitely do that. With regards to the question from ENCA, I'm going to refer that to the head ranger afterwards, but people were allowed to take their possessions out as much as they could. And remember, this evacuation effort was, the figures that we gave you were the people that were physically evacuated by sandparks. But a huge number of people were evacuated on their own, in their vehicles, guided by the sandparks personnel. So we knew that there's a lot of flooding coming in a certain area. They went from chalet to Rondavel to tell people, please, we know that your booking might still be for a few days, but we want you for your own safety to go. And most of the people adhere to that. There were 1 or 2 people that thought, as you asked, whether they can ride it out. And they quickly realized that the advice that they were given by sandparks were the right advice, and they also went. Some people could not go, and they had then to be evacuated. So with regards to the belongings and what happened there, it's still a process. There are still people that must go back to get that, but I'll hand that over to my colleagues here. With regards to the numbers, Ulrich, SABC, numbers of people evacuated, I'll give it to you again. In the northern area, due to the fact that we asked people early on, since the 9th already, to evacuate themselves, to exit the park because we knew that there's problems coming. There weren't a lot of evacuations that had to be carried out by sandparks themselves. In the south, it happened very quickly, and the numbers for the south is 230 guests that were evacuated and 77 staff members. At Satara, you've got the Nsimane Dam. It is the first time in my life that I've seen the Nsimane Dam in flood, going over the road from Satara to Orpen. I think that's the H7 road going from Satara. It's been flooded, and also the small stream right to the south of Satara camp got flooded in such a way that the staff quarters that are at the lowest part there, they were also flooded, and that staff had to be evacuated. The other people inside the Satara camping site, as I said, were relocated into some of the rondavels and chalets there. There are some few caravans that's still there, but most of the people there has been evacuated. The camp, the park is currently not open for day visitors, and they will open it as soon as possible. But the people must realize that there must now be an assessment done of low water bridges that were flooded, everywhere that people are going to drive. We don't want to have people coming into the park and then experience problems. So it's not a matter of we don't want people in the park. We want to have people in the park, but we want people to be safe when they are in the park. So those entrance gates for day visitors will be opened as soon as possible, but not at the risk of visitors coming here. The camps that are still open in the south, we still have got people in Lower Sabi and in Skukuza and in Pretoria Skop. I'm right if I say Lower Sabi. So you can get there, but it's difficult. So we would, at this stage, if anybody has got a booking and they worry whether they'll be able to get to their camp, contact Sandparks. I think the number is 0123489111. If I'm right. I've made a lot of bookings on that number in the past. So I see Tabu is laughing. Tabu, I know this Kruger Park very well. I even know the bookings number. So please contact the Central Reservation Office and try to move your booking to a different date. Or if you then really can't do it else on a different way, then ask for the booking to be cancelled. You will be fully refunded. But yeah, let's try to move those bookings. It will help definitely a lot. Thank you. Over to you, Kathy, with the other question on the belongings.
I think there's a follow-up question.
Sorry. Oh, yes. Let me just move the mics over for you, Kathy.
Thank you. Thanks very much, Minister. And thank you for that question. I think in the midst of the chaos, you kind of forget about the people in the background. As the Minister said from the very beginning, there's a disaster management committee in Kruger. They had their first meeting on the 9th. That was when we started to see things go wrong. And so it has been a long 8 days, but it's been a massive collaborative effort. It's certainly not been a one-man show by any means. We are fortunate to have 22 sections in Kruger, 4 regions, and in each of those sections we have ranger, tourism, maintenance staff. And so it's been a massive effort for everybody to pull together, and everybody has contributed. If it's just giving us information about what's happening, calling for help, going to assist nearby sections or camps where we couldn't get hold of people. Connectivity has been a very big challenge. Vodacom has started to go down. We've really struggled. And so currently as it stands, even in the far north, we don't have comms with a lot of our colleagues. So we really are relying on each other to be able to get that message. But yes, teams may be tired, but I can assure you they are all in great spirits. And again, it's been a massive collaborative really, everybody has pulled together in the midst of this crisis, from our air support, our pilots, rangers, technical services, maintenance team, tourism. Nobody has shied away from their job. We've done things that we've never done before, and we will continue to support each other. The hard work actually only begins now. As the Minister says, there's been a lot of damage, and we're going to, again, as we relied on each other for the last 8 days, we're going to continue to rely on each other as we start to rebuild and reopen the park.
I can just add to what Kathy has said now, and that is we want people to come back as soon as possible. When you contact the Reservation House, they will be able to tell you, because there will be constant communication between the park and the Reservation House. They will know that you want to book Patelier, but it's not ready. Or you want to book in Pafuri, you can't access that. You want to book in Pretoriaskop, yes, you can. So there will be constant communication on that. We want people to come back to the park as soon as possible. Colleagues, I just again want to reiterate the absolute proudness that I've got for the team of SANParks and what they've done. It's not every organization that gets faced with a disaster like this and can, whilst the disaster is going on, act in such a way that they know that they're winning this fight. So again, to everybody here, I cannot be more proud to be the minister that's responsible for this department as well and for SANParks. It's really, really a proud moment in my life. Any further questions?
Thank you very much, Minister. Any further questions, colleagues? I cannot agree more with Kathy. It's been very tough 8 days.
We as a team, we meet every day and discuss and plan ahead, and I think everything has been going well with the media as well assisting us with publishing the information. Let's take 3 more questions.
Good afternoon, Minister. Good afternoon, officials, management of the Kruger National Park and SANParks. Minister, I think allow me to take this opportunity to ask you this question. What is your comment with
Sorry,
From get your name.
Your
My
name
name is Mafashule Mukwena from the SABC.
Okay.
I need the minister's comment with relation to the utterances made by his predecessor that his family is involved in lion hunting. And again, lastly, maybe to ask the minister if whether are you likely to stand for any position in the DA, because I think there are elected conferences around the country. Thank you.
Magashule, firstly, I think today is to concentrate on what needs to be done now. We do not have to concentrate on anything else than to save lives, because there are still people in this park. I can, however, categorically say that neither my family nor I have ever been involved in any sort of lion ranching or canned lion hunting or canned lion breeding. We have never been. So it is not true. And I will leave it at that. It's just that I think that the time now is to really concentrate on the job that needs to be done here. We've got a job to be done. We have up to now not dropped the ball, and I can promise you that SANParks will not drop the ball going forward in the next few challenging days lying ahead of us. Thank you.
Go ahead, sir.
Good afternoon. Alfonso Njana from the Associated Press. Minister, just like to right now, I've noticed that animals are everywhere. I just wanted to get a general understanding of like the pattern of the animals from sea to like the land, sea, so from water to land. Has it changed, or is it still the same, or has other animals migrated somewhere, or it changed?
I'll ask Kathy to answer that question. I can however say that when we flew over the park now, we have certain roads that's closed for a few days. Those animals realize now that the roads are closed. There's a lot of animals at that roads area because they are safe there. But they know that it's strange for them not to have cars there. But as I said earlier on, animals has got this built-in early warning system. They adapt. They are part of nature. They've got nature built into them. They are so resilient and they are so intelligent. So I think they enjoyed the long shower that they had, but I don't know about other patterns, so let me hand over to Kathy to answer that.
Thanks very much, Minister. I think you've already answered the question. Animals intrinsically know when these things are coming. And so we have seen a lot of movement of animals to higher ground. We actually had a big rain episode on the 22nd of December. And when we flew then, we saw so many hippo out of the water, only to realize later that the rivers were going to expand. And so they had already moved to high ground. I must also say that Kruger never disappoints. I'm still seeing so many people reporting incredible sightings, even rangers, wild dogs on the road. I think the Emmy just told me yesterday about a lion and a leopard he had seen. So the wildlife is there, I can assure you. They just know where to be during these difficult, trying times. And as the Minister has said, we've had to intervene very little. Obviously, the focus has been on staff and on guests. We have had to evacuate and move some of our working canines to safer ground, which was done. But in terms of wildlife, they have a way. And again, it's going to be incredible to see how things change once all of the rivers subside and all the water subside. And do we see any differences in how animals behave after that?
Thank you, Kathy. Can you maybe just give Dr. Masuku a microphone? That is Dr. Sbongile Masuku, who is a SABC board member.
Do we need to move these?
Mr. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. I'm a board member responsible chairing the Conservation Committee. I just want to also just bring it something into the brief that when we talk about sand parks, we're talking about sand parks and we're talking about Kruger. We're not talking about an island in space. It's got neighbors, and the rain has also impacted some of the projects that Sand Parks is actually supporting in terms of social and economic transformation. So we really plead that we would like our visitors to come back because they pay a levy that contributes to some of the projects that indicate that conservation does not only happen within the fences of Kruger, but conservation happens beyond the landscapes that we are entrusted to look after. So we are appealing to people to also support us. For instance, if you look at Kruger Gate, you have projects. We have a stall that is belonging to the community. They could not come to the park and trade because of the rains and the impact. We have a stall at Numbi Gate, and the local people could not come and trade. So there are also economic impacts that have happened as a result of the rain. So we would plead that you actually, communities, especially the international press, to plead that we actually would need support in terms of addressing some of these issues that are happening in the closest of our neighbors. The other thing to say is that with these rains, Kruger National Park did not just close doing its business. There have been consultations that have been happening with communities, and the chief would speak, Chief Matsila here, who handles land claims, would speak with some of the work that's been continuing to be happening with regard to communities that were here in terms of consultations. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Masuku. Colleagues, I think we've come to the end of the session. Unless if there's any other questions, we'd like to take you to the SABC river. We would like to show you how the water is moving towards over that particular bridge. So if there's no any other questions, we're going to release the Minister and the CE just to take you that side where you could actually take some footage. If there's any questions? Or there are no questions? Or one-on-ones quickly? Is anyone would like one-on-one? All right. Okay. So
well, those were live visuals from the Kruger National Park where the Minister of Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment, Mr. Willie Aucamp, was briefing members of the media on the damage that was caused by the floods at the park, where he outlined the plan also to restore the park to its former glory, noting the extensive damage that was caused by the floods that could lead to millions, if not billions of rand to restore, subsequently announcing that Kruger Relief Fund created for the sole purpose of rebuilding the damaged park. And Force, some good news is that although it's still drizzling, rain is slowly subsiding.